It's a beautiful day here in the kingdom, but I must remind you, you ain't so tough with that bad boy talk.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Namaste, gangsters. How you all doing out there? Well, I hope. Better than David Coote, Premier League referee. Not related to Chelsea news. We're going to talk about Nkunku. We're going to get into this article here on the Telegraph very shortly. But many of you just want to reference it. I was thinking about doing a reaction to that story on the second channel, Football Yannick. Go follow Football Yannick and follow me on Instagram, Football Yannick, if you want to. It's a bit too trashy for me. But my word, go on X or other social media platforms. Check out the David Coote. His career is over, this Premier League manager. He's calling Jurgen Klopp a see you next Tuesday. And there's a video saying this video can never get out. It's out, bro. And you are done for. My giddy aunt. Never say that into a camera. Anyway, welcome to Football Therapy. We're going to speak about... yeah, man, some stuff for two French players. Wesley Fofana pulling out of international duty. We are now in the international break. And more stuff. The chief football correspondent of the Telegraph, Jason Bart, has written about this situation with Christopher Nkunku, which is a big story, guys. It's une... what's the story? Histoire très grande. It's a big story. So we're going to get into that today, gang, friends, sweet subscribers. And if you want to be one of the subs, do consider subscribing. We're close to 190,000 subscribers. What a long and wonderful journey it's been. Do consider subscribing and liking and hitting the bell. Let's get into it. First of all, before we read about Nkunku. Yes, Fabrice Hawkins, French reporter, has confirmed Wesley Fofana will stay at Chelsea over the international break. He will not be joining up with France. Chelsea said they do not want any risks. I like it. The protection of our players is much better. We've been speaking about the immaculate injury record. It's really only been Amari Kellyman out injured, and we haven't even seen this guy kick a football, so it doesn't seem like that much of a loss in a side that has a very talented B team. Of course, we're going to reference that with Nkunku in a moment, and indeed a sort of C team that includes, well, a C level of players that include Dewsbury Hall. Feel bad for him, by the way. Well, a little bit. And, you know, Mark Gue and others as well, and Chukwuemeka, though I do think Chukwuemeka, like Chilwell, will go in the January transfer window, is my personal speculation opinion. But it's good. Wesley Fofana, Lavia, Reece James, they were all out last season. We've got to be very careful with them. And even if they've got the slightest of physiological complaints, we need to protect them and not send them away to international breaks. And of course, the France manager Didier Deschamps has got history with essentially playing players that shouldn't be played with injury and stuff. So this is really good. I'm pleased we're keeping Wesley Fofana at Chelsea and making sure, because he was good. He was good against Arsenal. It was Levi Colwill who was the weaker centre-back in that game. Granted, Colwill often is the better centre-back out of the two so far this season, but both need to learn, develop, grow together, and we got to protect them injury-wise. So it's good news. Let's move on. All right, mate. How you doing? Let's talk about this article then. I'm not going to keep up on the screen while I read it, but just for reference, here it is again. Christopher Nkunku considers Chelsea future amid growing frustration under Enzo Maresca. Of course, he's the club's top goal scorer of 10 goals and 17 appearances. He started just one Premier League game, and of course, he's got one Premier League goal, though it was the all-important goal against Bournemouth that saw us win away from home, I think. By the way, the Bournemouth and Brighton wins now. I know Brighton lost on the weekend, and that was a frustrating result against Brentford. But you know, Brighton have had some scalps. Brighton and Bournemouth have had scalps, and we've got away with wins against both of them. And of course, Forest have had a little wobbles, but the draw against Forest ain't looking that bad as well. And we've got a good run coming up, like after the international break. So I'm feeling, dare I say, pretty positive. Of course, we need to sort ourselves out pull our big boy pants on for these big high profile games. You know, but yeah, that's fine. We'll get there. If someone said to you, whatever your name is, insert name here, come the November international break, of course we are third, pinch of salt, because I looked at the table, I was gassing up being third. So many teams are on the same amount of points as us. I was laughing at my Man United supporting friends because we are 10 places above them in the Premier League, but only 4 points ahead of them. Which brought me crashing down to earth, right? Back down to earth. 4 points ahead of 13th place Manchester United, which made me think, ugh. But the truth is, you know, you can't change the facts, guys. We are above Arsenal. We're above Villa. We're good. We're above Spurs, Man United. We are third. We're 2 points behind Man City, or 3 points. That's the real, like, barometer. I know they're in a crisis, but it's fine. Yes, we need to do better. You know, a point against United, probably disappointing. A point against, but it was away and we never win. But that for me should have been the win. I don't mind losing 2-0 to Man City on the opening day in Maresca's first game, especially if we played it right. I don't at all. I don't really mind losing to Liverpool, especially, you know, looking at where they are now, so far clear at the top of the Premier League. And prior to playing us, they'd conceded 2 goals all season and we scored 1 against them. Fine, again, in the embryonic beginning stages. The frustrating ones is probably Man United. I know it was away at Old Trafford and a point should be okay. Arsenal, I don't really mind too much because suddenly Ødegaard, their captain, who got the assist as well, was fit and ready to play for us, which is, you know, arguably the reason why they've been off the boil, because they've not had Ødegaard. He was back for Chelsea. Rice was supposed to be injured. He's back for Chelsea. We got a point against them, fine. But eventually those big boy games will have to be good enough to get a bit more change out of them. But if we still do well elsewhere and get the odd draw out of these games, then Chelsea will be well placed to finish in a Champions League spot, which you have to say is a huge success. All things considered, the last couple of years at Chelsea, the amount of change, the risk we took with this inexperienced manager who's doing well so far, it's all pretty good. But you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs. And the eggs might be also balloons. Most notably, Nkunku, who scored... I know we played against the farmers of Noah, the farmers that built Noah's Ark. Maybe if Nkunku scored a hat-trick, the hat-trick goal might have brought out the balloon. But no balloons, no parties. And he's clearly miffed. He obviously came on against Arsenal for like 3 minutes. We're going to read this article. I'm going to give you my thoughts. And I've been pretty consistent about this, guys. I'm a huge fan of Nkunku. I think he's the best finisher at Chelsea. I also think he's going to leave. That's just how I feel. It looked like the attack was going to be built around him for Pochettino, but times are changing. And also, that was the pre-season, and we didn't really know what we had with Cole Palmer yet. So, yeah, Christopher Nkunku, excuse me, Bert writes this. Christopher Nkunku is considering his future at Chelsea after failing to secure a regular first-team place under Enzo Maresca. Nkunku was the subject of an inquiry from Manchester United in the summer, but there was no official approach, and he stayed at Chelsea to fight for his place, as you think he would, because remember, he was injured all last season. He said he didn't count last season at Chelsea because of the injury. He was like, this is my time. He is scoring, and he is playing a lot of minutes in a Chelsea shirt-ish. Or, you know, well, not a lot of minutes, but he's playing minutes in a Chelsea shirt, but he's not a first-choice 11 player. And that he's our most... Hold on, is he our most senior outfield player, or he's joint out? Because, Tosin as well, but he's definitely the most senior high-profile player by a long shot. He should be starting for a Champions... He should be starting for a Champions League team, of which we're not... You could argue maybe we are a Champions League team in terms of quality, but make no bones about it, mate. He should be starting for an elite team, you know? Man United came in with an approach for him. He's increasingly frustrated with his lack of opportunities. Understandably, this guy's a baller. He won the Golden Boot in Germany when we signed him. Although the 26-year-old has made 17, and he turns 27 this month, I believe, has made 17 appearances for Chelsea this season. So he scored 10 goals, and a few of those appearances, right, off the bench, 2 minutes yesterday. Like, that's an appearance. So let's crank that up. I imagine his goals per minutes ratio is insane. But again, playing against Farmers, respectfully. He's still got a score, but do you know what I mean? Like, you know. So he's the top scorer for the club. He's only started one Premier League game, which was the opening game of the season against Man City, the first fixture of the campaign. He also played, I believe, on the wing, which for me is just an absolute no-go. Nkunku needs to start down the middle, but not as a striker. And not really as a sort of creative number 10. He needs to play as like a direct second striker position thing. Sorry if you can hear that. It's like a helicopter above my building. No, they're not after me, I think. Touch wood. So yeah, he played against Man City. Since then, he's come on 9 times as a substitute, including, of course, the 88th minute against Arsenal. Bit insulting, really. It's like you might as well chuck Mark Yu on to like chase people down. But I suppose, like, obviously, Nkunku being such a good finisher, like, if a chance did fall to us late on in that game against Arsenal, like, you want that. You want Nkunku there, don't you? Nkunku made 7 starts for Chelsea, 5 in the Europa Conference League and 2 in the League Cup, which Maresca has effectively used as game time of what constitutes his B team. Worth mentioning, Maresca says, I haven't got a B team. I've got a squad, and players will mix between these two teams. Even if that's true to a degree, like Neto has definitely gone from the B team to the first team. I think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying they're not set in stone. But they look pretty set to me, bro. Cole Palmer, Wesley Fofana, Romeo Lavia have not even been included in the roster, of course, for the Europe campaign. And as Maresca looks to spread his minutes along fringe players, all 3 are first choice in the Premier League. Although, people again already, and this is how changeable opinions are while you're not a completely settled team, people are already criticising Lavia, like people who know a lot about football analysis. They're like, yeah, he's a good player, but he's not the guy for Caicedo, which maybe I'm reserving my opinion until I've seen more data. But I heard CFC Central Sam speak on London is Blue, saying he's speaking about him like a Kovacic. And so is someone I follow, Joe Tweedy. He used to be on a lot of podcasts and stuff. When I had a podcast, he came on a few times. He also referenced Kovacic. I said Kovacic in the summer. I said he's a bit Kovacic-y, but he's not going to be that like balanced, controlled midfielder, maybe. I think he's a good player to have in the squad, Lavia. But I wonder if Lavia should be a B-team player. And, you know, if we can find a way to get Enzo back in and working, great. Or maybe we or maybe we wait for Andre Santos, who's, by the way, looks friggin' amazing. And, you know, the way he led that Brazilian under-20 team to success, the way he's like the best player at Strasbourg, the way he's been called up to Brazilian first team. He's still only 21, Santos. He could be the guy next to Caicedo, basically. And he could be like the Chelsea mid. And then you got the Chelsea midfield for ages. We'll see what happens. We're not here to talk about central defensive midfield partnerships. We're talking about Nkunku. So, Nkunku joined Chelsea for £52 million from RB Leipzig in the summer of 2023 and was regarded as one of the most exciting signings of the new ownership. He still is, bro. Like, this is the thing with transfers overseen at that time by co-owner Todd Boehly. The forward was hampered by a series of injuries in his first season at the Bridge, including a knee and hamstring problems. Sure. But has been fully fit for some time. Right, he did not join to just, quote, sit on the bench. No, of course not. However, he's clearly behind Nicholas Jackson in the pecking order as a centre forward here, with Maresca regarding the pair as rivals for the centre forward position formation. He said he is wary of playing them both together on the pitch, but one source stated Nkunku has not joined Chelsea to sit on the bench. Also worth mentioning, I've heard a lot of people analyse and broadcasters, content creators speak about this thing, about why don't you just play Nkunku in, you know, the hole behind instead of put Palmer out wide sometimes when Madueke is not looking good and stuff like that. Palmer did do great on the right wing last season, but he's also done poor on the right wing, certainly for England as well. The 2 games where he scored 4 goals for Chelsea last season and this season, he played on the inside. Remember, Pochettino moved Palmer from the right wing to the inside and his productivity went up. So this whole he did better at right wing narrative, I just don't believe at all. I don't buy it, bro. And more importantly, Nkunku, yes, in a Pochettino system, he could play like the Dele Alli second striker role, but it's different. It's different under Enzo Maresca. It needs to be a more creative player. That's why Maresca himself has said the two players that he wants to see in that position is Cole Palmer and Joao Felix. They're the type of players he wants. These creative, mercurial, sort of dribbly, floaty players. That's not Nkunku. Nkunku is direct. He's go, go, go towards goal. He's a second striker. He's like I call him cloak and dagger. He's not this creative number 10, so he doesn't play that. Maresca himself says, up front, we have Jackson and Nkunku, and maybe Mark Q, he says. Behind, we've got Cole Palmer and Joao Felix. He's like given these player roles and positions. So this kind of idea of certainly under Maresca and the way he plays, he's not going to play Nkunku. Maybe he will, but his idea for the moment is not to play Nkunku that way because he's an idea style at the moment. It's important that we know that. So the sources said he's not been joined Chelsea to sit on the bench. And there were links to Manchester United that have been referenced in this article on the Telegraph. Chelsea have an array of attacking talent, including Palmer, Jackson, Madueke, Mudryk, Felix, Sancho, Neto, who scored in his first league goal. Yeah, Neto's looking like the one at the moment, isn't he? Ahead of last week's European tie against Armenian club Noah, with Nkunku scoring twice, of course, in the 8-0 rout. Maresca admitted that he felt sympathy towards the player. And he said, there's Christo, every time he plays, he scores, he does well. Also, he's probably our best player in pre-season, no doubt. He was playing then as an attacking midfielder, and now we're using him as a 9. Here we go. Which we all know isn't his position. He's more of a second striker or between the lines. What I've been saying this whole time. He's not a striker. He's between the lines, second striker, but he's direct. He's not a creative 10 like Felix or Palmer. He's direct, he's direct, he's direct. He's a finisher of moves, not a creator of moves. He can combine in the box, but it's in a different way. So pleased. Vindication in my words. It's understood Chelsea would only be willing to listen to offers for Nkunku, whose contract has 4 years left to run, if they could recoup the transfer fee in full, which they should really. He's entering his prime, he's playing for France, he's fully fit, and he's scoring goals. He's worth 52 million quid. I'm sorry. He is. In this market where, I'm not going to say Anthony for 100 million, but, you know, when people are paying, Chelsea are paying 62 million for Mudryk, and, you know, whatever. And Nkunku's wages, I think they're 190k a week. So they're high. They're out of our wage structure. They are out of our wage structure. So that's another reason why Chelsea might be like, oh, you couldn't chill well and Nkunku and go. And they'd bring in maybe another player who go into their wage structure. And they'll be like, that's a win for us. Because not that Nkunku's bad. He's sick. He's awesome. But we're bringing in a player that fits the system and is in the wage structure. Which at the moment, Nkunku's neither, right? So big clubs can pick up Nkunku for 190k a week. You can go, yeah, we'll pay that. You know, it's not 250 like Man United play some players. 190 is affordable, and we'll play like how you want to play. It's important, and I think he would be worth 52 because we're looking after him. His fitness is good. He's looking sharp. He's scoring goals. He's a high-profile player that brings like brand and marketability. I reckon he is. And if Chelsea sell him for 52 million, they get a book profit on him as well, which would be positive for them. If Nkunku was put up for sale, there's likely to be several suitors for him. United's interest came under Erik ten Hag, and it remains to be seen whether it will be revived under new head coach Ruben Amorim. It's another interesting thing to consider with Man United because they're going to play a 3-4-2-1 if they do play Ruben Amorim's system. And actually, that might suit an Nkunku as an inside forward on the left channel slightly, rather than a Bruno Fernandes, because you can't play as much hero ball with that formation. I wonder what's going to happen with Fernandes. I mean, he'll have to play, but he'll have to be more disciplined, less hero ball, probably less productivity. So for all you people on FPL out there. And maybe an Nkunku suits that style. But very, very interesting. So yes, he doesn't sound happy, understandably. I mean, this story was always going to go. We know he isn't fit. If Chelsea are fully committed to Maresca, and they sort of smell the coffee with what's going on with Nkunku, they probably will sell him. I'm not saying I want to sell him. If we can make it work, great. He's an amazing player. I was so excited when we signed him. I haven't changed my perception of him. What has changed is Chelsea's setup, their wage structure, and their formation, their styles and their tactics. And that might have jeopardized the situation. So, you know, I would prefer if he didn't go to Manchester United and looked really good. But, you know, he's a starter for a Champions League club. Just absolutely no arguments. Chelsea have got a number 9, Jackson. They look like they still want to buy another elite number 9, like maybe Victor Osimhen or something like that. Don't play him out on the wings. We've got good wingers. We might even buy another one knowing us. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I do hope to see you back here soon on the channel, Football Therapy. Keep it locked. Peace.